I still don't know how to flip this around to where you can face my face. It's not working to change the. It's not working to turn the picture around. But I wanted to talk more about when I was a kid. I had spoke before last night. Actually, I did the video. Today I have a little bit of time. It's on my mind because I'm crying on the inside today. I don't know how this has been happening to me. I think I was founded. I think I was stalked by people that were older than me and found out I was born. There was something about, I think it was like 1972. And I remember being at my grandma's farm on Gainesburg Road. They took the house down. It's not there anymore. Now there's a horse farm next door to where she used to live. But that was my favorite place to be when I was a kid. I loved my grandma. She was very disciplined with us, but she put me on her hip because we were watching the air show about 1972, and there was a big siren that went around. And as I've been getting older and I've been going through all this stuff, like I said, there's a cult behind me. I've been fighting I don't know how many people because it's bigger than the one that was in Texas, and I've been fighting for years. The worst of it, probably 2009. When they stole my journal, I found out that they had passed it around to other people to read, and people found out about my life that they weren't supposed to know. But the siren, I was told that, came from one of the radio DJs, maybe, WTUE. I think has a lot to do with it because they had a Dr. Creep who did witchcraft. My uncle did the Homegrown albums, the Fessler Buxton Band. He had a Ouija board when we were a kid. We didn't know about all this, but I'm figuring more and more out as I get older about how many people actually did do witchcraft when I was a little girl or before. I had no idea that my uncle or uncles had a Ouija board and was into that because me and my sister had found it when my sister was probably 2. I was maybe 3 then, I guess. I don't know. I'm guessing because I'm 48 now, so it's been a long time, but I still remember. I remember the TV shows on were like Rin Tin Tin, The Flying Nun, Captain Kangaroo, the original Musketeers with Annette and Frankie. I think it was Frankie Valli. Just the fun times, the fun shows, and watching Zorro. And back when I was a little girl, Zorro was white always won. That was in my mind. Like I knew, like, from God. And my grandma, she gave me a little kid's book, a little children's Bible. It was white, and it had all pictures in it for kids. And I never left the first chapter. I always was so curious about Adam and Eve. I just always was. And then when I went to Dr. Morlage's, that was our family doctor, my sisters would play in the little toy room in the waiting area. There was a little corner for the toys, and there was a book laying on the table, and it was Adam and Eve was on the front cover. Well, that was where I stayed. I didn't go play with my sisters. I never played with Barbies. I never, I did things on my own, but I was so curious about God. I was very curious about Jesus. And I just was studying Adam and Eve, like, as a little girl. Well, then I found, as I got older, I never think about my personal life with God that way. I'm just me, But since these people in the cult have been tormenting me every day about who I am or who I was, I don't go there. It's not something that we do. But in 2003, I was told that maybe I don't really want to talk about it, who I really am, and Nicki Minaj came out with the song Your Love, and in the song she says, "Oh girl, you need to stop it." Well, it wasn't me doing it. It was people unraveling, peering in my soul illegally. It's against my religion. It's against everything I stand for. So they want me to die. They want me. They don't want. They would do anything to upset the world, because I guess I must be important. That important for them to get rid of me. But I am not just going to lay here and just let them, you know. So I'm going to keep fighting them as long as I can. As long as if everybody wants to think I'm crazy for this, and doesn't want to be around me, then it's just something that I'm going to have to deal with until it's over. Because I have babies that I care for too much to leave, and grandbabies that I want to watch grow. So these people are not going to win. It's happening to me 24/7. I can't sleep. I have a hard time in my life. But I was going to add to the video that I put last night about what God had told me when I was a little girl. There was some things that I remember that I'm sure I probably don't remember all of it. But God did tell me that we are the free America. And you got to remember, I'm only a little girl when this happened to me. So it would have to be before the age of 5. Because God told me that we learn everything before the age of 5 that we need for the rest of our lives. And I'm going to put that in my book when I get it finished. We have everything we need from God to everything, before we go to school. And that amazes me, that we have all of our, just everything God gave us before the age of 5 to deal with our lives as we're older. And I know that we're supposed to laugh and play like a child, but be responsible like an adult. Well, the people I'm dealing with are acting like they're 2 years old. They play with toys too and dolls, for witchcraft. They play games. They play mind games. They're very totally opposite of what I know. So I'm kind of in shock, and I'm kind of traumatized by these people that they even are existing, because it's not anything that I'm used to. It's nothing that I was raised with. I don't understand them. But then I find out from my boss and my coworkers that I was spied on as a kid, that my stepdad must have. All I can think of is that he watched us illegally to make sure that I kept my mouth shut from what he did. I don't know why, but I don't know who he's connected to. I know he's connected to one of the police that he went to school with, from what they did when he was in school. I don't know who they met. I know the people that I'm dealing with is one of the Staten boys that we were always told do not go around. And I found out he had been stalking us. I don't know what they do. He was busted one day from one of my friends that I worked with. We cleaned houses together, and this guy, Denny, this Staten boy, was caught by the neighbor girl that worked with us. They lived in a duplex. He was caught cutting an onion in a mirror, so he does do witchcraft. So they are very bad people. He's a drug lord. So I don't know how big it is. I know Trump is talking about the opiates, and I've lost a lot of coworkers and people that I've seen in my life, that have left my life, just passed by, whatever, but that didn't stick in my life. I just know them, and they passed away from heroin. That these people they killed 300 people in Dayton when I was in Florida. And now there's going to be even more. I don't know when it's going to come out, or if it's going to come out, but I know a few of my friends are passed. One of my friend's son is passed from heroin overdosing. So these people have grown to do wicked, I guess, to stay on top of their supply, their customers, I guess, who they deal with their drugs. I don't know. I heard it was a revenge tactic from an ex of mine. I was going to write a chapter about Roman's Revenge with Nicki Minaj. Like Dungeon Dragons, it's like a wicked, like I'm in a real life wicked game, like you play on Xbox. It's creeping me out every day, but I guess they think I'm weak. I wasn't even with the love of my life. He had married somebody else. So, and they tried to destroy every relationship I'm in. They pull my life under. They want everybody to seclude me, like I'll be nothing, invisible to everybody by the time they're done. If they don't die first, I don't know. I just know I can pray and they can die. But it takes a lot of prayers every day. I'd have to pray 24/7, 7 days a week to get them to all down. But I can't do it by myself. And I found a prayer on YouTube where Jesus was calling out his wives to beg for mercy to put down the underground government, because I think that's what this grew into, but I don't know. But when I was a little girl, but the reason why I opened this up is because when I was a little girl, I was riding my bike, and there was a little birdie on the ground, and I think it was a robin, a little baby robin, and I stopped and I cried, and I was asking myself, why did that baby die? And I was like, God, why did the baby birdie die? And he told me it's the circle of life. And I was just went on, and kept on playing. Well, back in those days, like I lived on 4th Street. It's a one-way street right now. Now that I've got older, it's a one-way street. And my house I forget if the house is white or blue. But there was a little concrete area where you could stand. We played Humpty Dumpty on the wall. There was a sidewalk with the cement wall right there by the yard, in the front yard. And I stood on that. But I'll go to that another time. That would be the concrete angel, because somebody had told me in about 2003, my daughter was friends with this girl that she went to school with. It was her best friend. And I used to go over to her house with her and talk to her mother. Well, the mother looked at me. I didn't know they were into witchcraft. Her daughter April had a Ouija board also. And the mother, Leah, had told me, her name is Leah Mullins, that one of Doug's would have been son-in-law was hanging out with also. But, so we were subjected to witchcraft in 2003, when we didn't even know that they were into witchcraft. Subjected, I guess is what I wanted to say. The Mullins, I'm going to go into a couple of different things because a couple of things are coming to my mind. But Leah, the mother, said, "Oh my gosh, you're the concrete angel." And I looked at her and I'm like, "What?" Well, she had, before they had moved to Vegas, she was walking around town with a guy that looked just like Kenny Chesney. But so now I'm beginning to think that she was in the cult, because this guy looked identical to Kenny Chesney. It was not him. But I don't know if they were trying to make a point, because I was getting attacked. I was getting ready to get attacked because they had moved to Vegas right after that. It was kind of strange that she was walking around town with a guy that looked just like Kenny Chesney. But anyways, there was a commercial. I don't know why, but I hear God a lot through the music. I think because I was told you find God in what you love. But I found God when I went to Cocoon, like through the music, because I just stayed to myself. I felt wooed, and I felt like God was talking to me. It's where I found, love with God. Just the commercial on the radio at the time was Stan, the radio, do your duty, Judy, radio DJ. Well, they had rocked my daughter, which still terrifies me today. I can't think about it because of all the things that these people are doing behind my back. It must be some kind of rape cult tied to the music. I don't understand what they do. I know they're trying to get rich. They're greedy. They're jealous. They're everything bad. They're glutton. They're everything bad. Just like the song 7. 6 others will curse me, as they say in the song. And he talks about blasphemy. This is what is happening to me. But Judy was Daniel, my daughter's best friend. And they rocked her. Judy rocked her for 2.5 hours. And I didn't know what to do. Because, I'm a single mom. And I am kind of afraid of my stepdad, a little bit intimidated and everything else. But, I guess a boy had hit on my daughter, made moves on my daughter. And my daughter freaked out. And they had to rock her. Because she started remembering stuff that happened to her. But I've been fighting these things for almost most of my life. Like, where's the cops at? Why am I not getting? Why is nobody ever helping me when I go to the cops? Why the doctors are never helping me? Why are these guys not in prison? They're not even on the offenders list. And it just keeps coming up that all these people keep hurting us. And I don't know what to do about it. So these people are staying in the cult so they don't go to prison. I know that's one of them. They don't want nobody to know who they are. It's like the song Imagine Dragons. He wishes that he was invisible. He wants to be invisible. I think it's the song Imagine Dragons, whatever it takes to be invisible. I can't remember all the words to that song right now, but it reminds me of one of the cult guys. The thunder and the lightning. He was thunder and the lightning because they knew how to do evil, like magic, wicked magic, like Chris Angel magic. They're evil. But when I was a little girl, I can't handle everything at this time. When all this is going on in 2003, because my friend had passed away, I fell under, and I couldn't move off the couch. My girls had to watch me get depressed, and I wasn't even married to him, but I wasn't trying to steal him from somebody else. I thought that he must love her, and she must love, they must love each other so much. I thought he was separated. I found out later he was married, so I started running from him. And, people didn't want us to be together because he still had things to do. But we ended up just, walking away from each other anyways. After I found out he was married. So, and I did try to find out before. And I thought they were separated. But just, things just happen. But when I was a little girl and I heard God speak to me, God said there's a Y in the road. And that people choose. He didn't put anybody on this earth to not be under him. He put everybody on this earth to be born from God, from Christ and God. That these people grew up to choose what path. They chose to be angry. They chose to be jealous. They chose to be wicked. He didn't put them here to turn against them. And it's in the Bible. He will not, he's a very jealous God, and he will not put up with these wicked people. And I'm tired of being ganged up on for being who I am. They went, these people that are so wicked, whatever they do, went so far up to my higher selves that it just makes me want to throw up. Because I keep that inside of me. That's between me and God. And they won't leave it alone. They really want me out of the way because I must be extremely important, for them to be on me this bad. And I'm just one person. So I can't make the whole total difference in the whole world. I can't do this by myself. And that's what they are not getting. If they want to attack me and they got an army to put me under just because I'm one person, well, I'm praying that they fail or they get confused. They live in confusion or get diseased or something because they're plaguing their souls doing this, what I feel, being behind us and not letting anybody know their identity, being anonymous behind us doing this. so that nobody will know what's going on, to make me look like I'm a foolish person or an idiot. But God told me that the children are going to be smarter than the adults that were in the 60s. So I would be smarter than my parents. My children are going to be smarter than me. And that's the way that God did it. He did it in a layer of heaven, where he pulled the children out of. The 60s and the 70s were not as intelligent as we are now. And now we have all this technology. The music had grown. So God did this on purpose to win the war, I think, to put, he pulled his kids out the way he wanted to do it, to win the war, because he knew they were making a mess somewhere around when they made the TV. So there's a spiritual war. I'm trying to remember what all God told me. I used to see Connections when I was a little girl. My neighbor's name was Boots. We called her Boots, and we did Christmas cookies at her house. And she had a cat, and I remember playing outside, and I think I was reading the book Puss in Boots, and it was the original story, not the ones they make up now. It was the first book where there's an ogre that is stealing the castle and all that, and he eats the kids. Some ogre eats the kids or something like that, I forget. But I was sitting in the yard, and I was reading that book, and I look over, and I looked at her cat, and then I looked over, I'm like, oh my gosh, we call her Boots. Well, then I had a vision of this big boy. He was like a cartoon figure climbing a ladder to steal the castle. It was a vision from God. And I found out that this guy is Satan that I was talking about, that everybody calls an asshole, that does all this Mason work and witchcraft stuff. And that is a drug lord in Troy, Ohio. It's him that I saw in the vision. And I figured, like, when he was climbing the ladder, he was climbing Jacob's ladder that my pastor talks about in the sermons and stuff, that only angels can come to us. We can't go to them. So they built a wall. Somehow they did something to come between God, and they're playing God, and it's illegal, and they do not know anything about our God, our creator, their creator. So what really bothers me is that God created all of us and created us all to be equal, and they're doing all this stuff to us. And if they hurt my kids, which I found out, like they're giving me death threats on my children and my grandbabies are telling me they feel like eerie situations in their life, and they're crying, and I don't like it, because I am thinking that it's them, because some of them were from their dad's cousins that were in the cult. And I don't know if they're out of the cult, but I am very angry that they would hurt their own relatives, especially a little kid. So, or little girls, and let alone for, you respect your elders, you respect your mother, you respect the children, and these people do not have no respect whatsoever. So one of my chapters is going to be respect. I'm very, very upset about the respect in America today. I have people coming up to us the other day while we were going to eat with the girls, me and my mom, and this guy got out with his girlfriend, and he opened the door for my granddaughter, and then he came around. He's like, wait, don't get out. And he came over and opened the door for me out of the blue. And I'm like, oh, thank you very much. And then we went inside to eat, and another gentleman had he had asked the girls a question, and they answered it, and he gave them each $1, which I thought was really cute, because you don't see that anymore today. Too much. Chivalry is dead. And when I met Doug, it was funny. When I was a little girl, we went into the barn, and we were talking. I was too afraid to talk to him because my cousin was sitting there. Like, I felt like people were like, oh, yeah, he's asking her out, and I have to answer him right in front of my cousins, and I couldn't do it. I was too shy. And he walked out of the barn, and he looked at me, he goes, what if I was he said, you wouldn't go out with me if I was the last man on earth? And I looked at the ground, and he kind of smiled. No. And he goes, what if I was the first man on earth? And I was like, no. But I wanted to say yes. So that was my fault. And now I blame myself now that he's passed away. Because I could have changed everything. But, life happened, so there's nothing I can do about it now. He's gone. I don't really dwell on him. I'm hurt. I'm in a lot of pain because I lost him. And I think Jesus did tell us that if he married somebody else, he would die, because he showed me and Doug, while we were talking about the music, he really did. This really did happen. But you're not me, so I don't care if you believe me or not, because I'm feeling like people are not going to believe me. I don't care. Jesus had showed us Prince and showed us Eminem also, and that Prince was going to be murdered. And I think that if Doug was going to marry another woman, because he showed me Michael, and they treaded on Michael to keep us apart behind our backs. But I know, because I lived part of the stuff with Michael, and some of it's not the movie The Lost Boys, but there's stuff in The Lost Boys that makes me think about my time with Michael, my daughter's dad, because I felt like it was in a movie. We were on Wildcat Road in Bethel, where he went to school at, and I felt like I was in a movie, like I was being watched. And it was like the first scene in The Lost Boys when the vampires come and attack in the car, because we were in Mike's car. But anyways, if Doug married another woman, that he was going to die. So I really do believe he was murdered. I really do, because Jesus was talking about these people were going to call themselves Illuminati. And it reminds me of the demons and angels, because they're looking for Gabrielle. They're talking about Illuminati. That God did something, but it's all spiritual. It's all spiritual, and I can't go there. I'm not in heaven. I'm only on earth, but someday I'm praying for things to be like the Belinda Carlisle song, Heaven on Earth, Our Daily Bread, for our children, that all of us adults are too busy paying our bills. We're too busy going to school. As kids, we're wasting away 8 days, or 8 hours, sorry. We're wasting away 8 hours. School should be lessened to about a couple hours a day, because now the moms are using school to babysit, and now they're all single mothers. They're not keeping their legs closed. I'm hoping that someday the little girls and little boys will be princes and princesses, and that we'll have more water parks and stuff, fun for the kids, and that the adults won't be so stressed out and so, 9 to 5-ish. Like, oh, I got to get you a babysitter. You're in my way. Go play Xbox. Go do so. Blah, blah, blah. I want more bonding with the moms and the kids and the dads. Like the song, Daddies Never Really Go Away. What is that? The Judds. Grandpa told me about the good old days. The Dick and Jane books, where it's all white picket fences and everybody loves each other and says hi, walking down the street, and there's not so many people making a mess in one town. It's all polite, and if there's a bully, we can pick the bully out and cast them out. If there's, like they used to do, if you were a bully, there was only 1 or 2 bullies, and it doesn't mean that everybody was, but if we could get more God in the world, then I think it would be so much better for the babies. Because these guys today are trying to get with the single moms, and they are doing some stuff, to the babies. They're abusing the babies. This is not their kid. They didn't have these kids with the mom. So they're kind of claiming their territory, taking over the household, and I don't like it. So I think I'd rather stay single in the world today with Doug being passed away, because this world has just gone crazy. I don't like it. Not everything's bad, but not everybody's living by Christ, and I think we need to get it back really bad. But this is my spiritual stuff. I'll talk about my visions in another video. I've had a lot of them. I'm painting some of them now. There was one, The Color of My Love, with me and my twin. I really did have a vision back in about 1995, right before he started making albums. It was a picture of us, and there was a heart shape, there was a sun, because Celine Dion was like singing about, I'll paint the sun or the moon, I forget. But we were standing face to face sideways with our hands locked to each other's. And I had a ring on my finger, and I had a lace to a point on my hands from the sleeve, and the veil went to a V on my forehead. So I'm going to paint that. I had another one at Charleston Falls about, I would say, 2002. I had to go clear my head, and I had a vision of Mother Mary with the Bethlehem star, and she was sitting by the river, and she was holding her baby, Jesus, with the trees in the background, and, it was just really pretty. I've had a vision of my dad, that if my dad Gary had us girls, he would have changed his life, and he would have been a really good father if he was allowed to have us. And so I'm very upset that he got turned away. I even actually got beat when I was 17. I woke up one morning, and I used to do this when I was a little girl. When I woke up and God was like, oh, there's a present out back. I have a present for you. And I went out back, and there was puppies and on 4th Street and in Tip City. So I went to Broadway school first. And sure enough, there was puppies. And I was so excited. And I went in and I went, Mom, come outside, there's puppies. Nuh-uh, there is no puppies. Oh, yes, there is, Mother. Come look. Why don't you believe me? God told me there was. Why would God lie to me? But she always did that to me. Every time God told me something, she told me something else. And then she went out there. Sure enough, there was puppies. And I didn't get anything from, that. They sold them and gave them away. But I woke up one morning when I was 17, and I felt like I had to get beautiful for that day. And I went across the street. I had all this adrenaline in me. I went across the street to my favoriteest person in the world, Brookie. They were Watsons across the street on 2nd Street, but they were not related. But Brookie was Wendy's first daughter, and her birthday's September 4th, where mine is the 3rd. So I felt like me and her were very connected, and she is so sweet. Like I said, she's my favorite person in the world besides my kids. I love her to death. I miss her. I asked her to French braid my hair because I felt, like I had to get pretty and do stuff. So I went, after she braided my hair, I went and turned on my curling iron. Well, I never curled my bangs. I sat on the porch and waited